our last movie this week, as requested by Dylan, unfortunately, was the 2021 film The Sadness. Please tell us about it.
The Sadness is about two high school sweethearts that meet just before school starts, and then they start to go through the trials and... Oh, wait, sorry. I had the memory of this movie replaced by something far better. Fuck this movie. It's Korean World War Z, I guess. I don't fucking know. I don't want to think about this movie. I was physically ill from watching this, so the less I have to discuss it, the better. So, Tanner, please give your fun fact, I guess.
Dude, very funny. Not Korean and not very
I didn't mean Korean. To World War Z. I meant... I mean, listen, I'll give my explanation as to why I think that. I actually don't. It's Taiwanese or whatever, I think is what it was.
Dude, you have no reason other than the zombies can run. That's the only similarity in your mind.
Just go on with your fun fact, and I'll get on with it.
Right. Fun fact, this movie only took 28 days to shoot.
Holy shit, that's very fast.
It was all in post-production.
I'm gonna be real and level with you guys. I don't know what I'm ranking this movie.
Fair enough.
Tanner, what are you ranking it?
I'm sitting at an A- right now.
You're a fucking psychopath. Kill yourself, Jackson. What are you ranking it?
Clearly, Tanner's got a screw loose with his ranks this week. I'm giving this a C-.
Oh, wow.
Huh.
Yeah, and I'm giving it a D, personally.
That's
Valid.
so interesting.
Yeah, I feel like my reaction to this movie is the same way that Nico feels about Terrifier, except obviously Nico's set on, lower. My problem with this movie is that it is well made, but it is so impossibly hard to watch. As I alluded to in the summary, I legitimately... I mentally had to check out of the movie about 40 minutes into it, and then for the rest of the movie, I was physically ill from watching it. I was on the verge of vomiting the entire time. It was not a fun watch for me. I feel like that should speak volumes as to what I should rate this movie. However, I can't... I'm wrestling with the fact that it was, in fact, a pretty well-produced movie. So that's the unfortunate fucked up part.
Dude, I think that's more just a comment on you than on this movie, to be honest.
That's why I'm unsure of what to rank it. I don't think it's the movie's fault that I reacted this way.
The purpose of horror movies is to make you laugh, not to scare you, and I think this movie does that very well. I was cracking up throughout this thing.
You are fucking insane. What is wrong with you?
That is how most horror movie fans watch horror movies. They watch them to laugh.
I disagree, but okay.
They watch them just have a good time, you know? Just have a little J.O. with the boys in the theater.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
In this instance, I don't think Dylan's the average horror fan, so I don't know if he can truly put himself in the
That's why
shoes.
him saying I disagree is fucking stupid. I'm commenting on something he doesn't have knowledge of.
Anyway.
This movie is kind of bad. Honestly, I think my initial rank of C- is very generous. I think the idea behind this, because this is, to me, a very novel concept. I think it's interesting where it's like people know what's going on with their body, but they have no control over it. I think the explanation of like it affecting whatever fucking system they said, I can't remember exactly what it was.
Limbic.
Their limbic system is intriguing. I think the setup is interesting, but the character actions they take are pretty goofy, especially like the fucking boyfriend just kind of fucking off for most of the film was pretty weird, and then the resolution's pretty bad too. Honestly, I think the movie's kind of serviceable for what it is up until we get to the scene where the girl gets fucking taken in by the doctor, and I think that movie is genuine dog shit and knocked it down a lot for me personally.
Dude, but I love the doctor character. He's so fun.
I do think he's a fun character, but he's a fucking retard, and he talks way too much. It's just a really bad fucking scene to me.
So, audience, as Jackson alluded to, and I'll keep this brief since we talked about it so much on our own, as I was watching this, I thought to myself, this is just like Crossed, which, as I'm sure our rabid fans remember, was a comic book I brought up in the Apocalypse tier list. And lo and behold, the director was inspired by Crossed. In the interview of his that I read, I don't know if he's trying to avoid a lawsuit or something, but he was really downplaying the extent to which Crossed inspired him. I'm like, dude, it's just not possible to downplay. It is so obvious and so on the nose often that it's like, just say, yeah, I really fuck with that comic, and so I wanted to make my version of it. And then the director of this movie did get tapped to make a crossed movie, so seems like a good pick to me.
Yeah.
I was also watching this, and like literally within like 15 minutes, I'm like, okay, so this is like an American director. This was not made by an Asian person.
He was Canadian, actually.
He was Canadian, so egg on my face there. And yeah, that's like kind of my overarching thing with this movie. The big thing that's holding it back for me is I'm like, yeah, you just aped this other property so hard. And then couple that with, he also includes a lot of very heavy-handed and poorly aged COVID commentary.
I had a feeling you'd be bringing it up.
They do show, like, masks on the floor and shit a lot.
Yeah, the masks on the floor and that, like, oh, it's a country of people that are like, oh, this virus is fucking bullshit, whatever. And, like, you know, back in 2021, you know, there was an audience for people that are like, yeah, dude, we should be locking down and masking, whatever. But, like, none of that stuff holds up now. So it just looks silly.
I did not draw that conclusion. I don't think I was drawing very many conclusions throughout the duration of this movie, however, so...
I mean, you know, it's obviously meant to be an allegory to COVID.
Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, outside looking in, yeah, like I had mentioned before, I think it's insane that this movie was released at the height of COVID, but, you know, I thought that was a little bit silly.
What the fuck was up with that wolf cartoon, by the way? I thought that was gonna, like, come back at some point, but no, it just...
That's a student film the director made in film school, so I think it was just kind of a reference to his old work.
Okay.
I think it was fucked up shit to have fucked up shit happen. I think that was this whole movie, to be completely honest.
See, and that's the funny thing, where I agree that it is fucked up shit for the sake of fucked up shit, but that's also just the entire point of the movie, so
I know.
To that extent, I find it acceptable.
That's fair.
Tanner would love a movie where the entire point is shitting into a cup and drinking it. That should be fucking fire to him. At a minimum.
If Made in Abyss season movie 3 was just Bond doing horrible cruelty human experiments for the entire 2-hour duration, he would have fucking gone crazy for it.
Oh yeah.
I think the thing with Made in Abyss is just like the dichotomy between us having child and protagonists and then fucked up shit happening. Like my brain just can't clicked with that, you know? Like, I can't get into it.
We don't know how old Ray is. He could be 1,000 years old.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, just to go along with Dylan was saying, yeah, this is just like a bunch of fucked up imagery that's very well produced. I'll give it that. It definitely looks very visceral. I don't like it, though. It's a bit too gratuitous for my liking. However, unlike Terrifier, this film actually had a story, so I have to give it props for that.
What's wild is I knew you were going to say that too. I don't know why, but I was like, at least this movie had a purpose as to why fucked up shit was happening.
That's all you really need, is just some sort of through line. I do think following the girl was entertaining. I liked her little runaway. I don't particularly like what the boy was doing, because mostly him just kind of wandering around aimlessly, which is pretty stupid. But the scenes with the girl were captivating until, you know, she gets fucking yoinked by the dude, and then I immediately lost interest. Mm-hmm. But I also agree that it's very gratuitous in what it's trying to show. This is just a movie to show fucked up imagery, and that's basically its entire purpose. The plot is just a vehicle for that one plan.
Yeah, why is it always the foreign films, bro? Why? Why is it always the foreign films?
It's the only way they can get attention, dude.
Yeah, probably not even... wrong.
Do you think the fucking, I don't know, Yugoslavian version of Here Comes the Boom would get any eyes?
I don't know what that's supposed to mean.
Damn.
This movie...
I'm saying that generic, like, films made in other countries will not be watched by anyone, so they have to make wacky, extreme stuff to get noticed.
But you said the director or whatever was American or Canadian or whatever, didn't you? Or does that not matter?
That's beside the point, dude.
Okay. Yeah, this movie had me thinking a lot about what the fucking censorship laws or whatever the fuck you want to call them in other countries are like, because clearly they seem non-existent.
I mean, genuinely, what's like the wildest thing they show in this movie?
Yeah, it's not like they show a skeleton.
I legitimately, when I said I don't want to think about this movie, I don't want to think... I am also not joking when I said I'm glad that the memory of Clanad took over this fucking movie. It's the best thing that could have happened to me this week.
It was like an immediate palate cleanser.
Yeah, I everything I said up till this point was not trying to be funny. I mean everything I say.
Yeah, I don't know. I had fun with this movie.
Clearly.
I was laughing at it. And, like, there have been movies we've seen where, like, really visceral stuff has gotten to me. And this movie doesn't, because I think it doesn't really do anything all that extreme compared to some of those other films, and B, the stuff that is really extreme, they go so over the top that you like it leaves like the realm of believability. Like specifically with a lot of the killing, like there's so much blood where you're like, oh, okay, so we're in fantasy land and I can enjoy this as a piece of fiction.
I feel like the only time where that is really true though is when like that one dude gets stabbed on the train and it's just a fucking geyser of blood. Every other time it seems reasonable enough.
I disagree. I think every time there is blood, it is an insane amount of blood that you would never see in real life.
I agree with Nico. I think it's just the train scene. I don't know, Tanner. I don't know how much I believe you on you saying it doesn't get to you, because you were going off about how on fucking Eraserhead you shouldn't eat during the movie because you were that disturbed by it. Yet when I watched it, sure, there was like weird, gross shit happening, but it wasn't that bad. Yet my reaction, your reaction to Eraserhead is what I imagine my reaction was to this movie, and they do not correlate.
That's fine, I guess.
Okay.
Like, I think the grossest thing in this movie is, like, the guy, like, skull-fucking that girl whose eyeball got ripped out, and they don't even, like, really show it.
I think I was
really liked it, though.
Well...
She liked it eventually, yeah.
Anyway, I think I went, like, unironically numb to this movie at a certain point, because eventually all the fucked up shit kept happening, and I was just kind of, like, out of it. I was done. I checked out of the movie.
Which I think is fair, honestly. I can't say I'm a better man for having watched this movie, but you know, it's another one under my belt, I suppose.
Yep. I'm sorry, I legitimately knew nothing about this movie. I think what it was is I was scrolling through TikTok, and it was just some random movie clip that I found at one point. I was like, oh, this movie looks kind of interesting, and I went into the tags and found the name and added it to the list, because I thought it'd be a good horror movie, and it was not at all what I thought it was. So, rip me, I guess. I don't know.
C'est la vie.
I really do think that this is an interesting concept, though, even if it is just, like, blatantly ripped off from some comic book. But I want to see, like, an actual movie that's, you know, has some effort put into this idea, because I think it's cool for what it's trying to be, but it's just, like Nico said, so gratuitous in what it's trying to show that it just kind of avoids, like, I want a plot that goes around with this personally. The plot is so basic, it's just the girl trying to escape the guys pursuing her, and that's basically the entire movie.
Yeah, the entire series of events is always introduce new location, characters encounter infected, extreme violence. It just keeps doing that.
I just want more to grasp onto there, because I don't know. I just think that the plot is just it's just like missing the mark for what the idea could be.
Unfortunately, I don't think you're gonna get that when the like official movie adaptation of the comic book gets made, because the comic book is very much go to different location, insane fucked up shit happens, and repeat. So
that's how most of movies like this go.
If they ever adapt Crossed Plus 100, which is a spin-off series set 100 years after the infection starts, then maybe we'll get some interesting storytelling stuff, because that's that book I found to be much better story-wise, because it had a story.
Well, Dylan, after all that discussion, did you figure out where you're gonna rank the movie?
Yes, sir! I'm gonna stick to my traditions of how I view each tier, and I'm putting this movie in F+. I will never watch this movie again.
Based, honestly, yeah, I'm sticking with D.
Yeah, I'm gonna drop it down. I definitely think I was a little generous by saying C-. Not a crazy amount, though. I do really think the novelty of this is entertaining, and I think it's a well-made movie. Plus, it is just, like Tanner said, it's kind of funny.
I'm glad you thought so.
It's so over the top in what it's trying to present that it kind of like loops back from being like, oh my god, this is crazy to watch, to like, it's interesting. Also, we didn't talk about this at all, too, because I was going to be like, oh, look at Jackson again, fucking talking 10 minutes after we talked about the movie when we're giving ranks. But we didn't talk about this at all, but like the ending, I actually kind of enjoy the ending. It really does just paint such a bleak picture about what this situation is, and I like movies that don't necessarily have good endings. I think there's room for that in media, and we don't see it super often. So yeah, I'm just knocking it down one rank to a D+.
Yeah, I agree. I thought the ending was fitting for what this film is. Yeah, my rank remains unchanged. I'm still at an A-, and blow me up all you want. I'm in the majority opinion on this film, so...
Oh, wow, look at you. How brave, Tanner. Woo la la.
Yeah, that was... Dale and I are in the majority of the fucking Made in Abyss movie, retard.
Yeah,
True.
I disagreed with this ranking purely on a... maybe not such a copaesthetical level with this movie. I think that's just a personal reaction to the movie and nothing else.
Tanner, thank God you don't live in Oregon anymore. Dylan would come for you if you did.
I wouldn't, because I'm not gay.
Damn. Understandable. Anyways, this lands at a C-. This is a very...
Where is Terrifier?
Probably around the same...
Terrifier?
I think it's around the same rank.
Terrifier sitting at a C-, the exact same rank.
Yeah, fucking called it. Let's go.
I did give Terrifier a lower rank than this one, and that's based. Honestly, I'm probably going to lower Terrifier.
Hell
funny.
yeah.
Nico loves to hear it.